Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Tuesday, February the 25th, 2025. Hmm, not too much of an action-packed day. It's like, we're rounding down to the end of February sweeps, and you could tell I'm a little bit disappointed in Miss Jocelyn. Disappointed. Oh, she's telling the DA. No, you've got the wrong man. He didn't do it. And she's just looking at him like, you're too close to this. And of course you would say that. He's a close friend of the family. So she's telling Anna, Jason didn't do it. And the DA goes in, she says, I'm gonna question him. And Anna's like, because she knew Jason wasn't gonna talk to him, to the DA, ADA. So Anna goes to follow the ADA. She turns around and she tells her, I got this. And Anna's like, so she goes back to Jocelyn. No, Anna, Jason did not do this. He did not. And so Anna says, what makes you so sure, Jocelyn? And she's standing there looking like, as soon as she just stood there like that, I said, Jocelyn is not about to confess. She should. She should have said, because I did it, you know? No, she goes to Jack. Now, mind you, Cardi's in there talking to Jack, saying that, I was going to ask you to spend the night last night before you got that phone call, but then I thought about it. Donna was in the house, and I would not have, you know, that around Donna. She goes, especially where we don't have any labels on this. And Jack says, well, what do you mean labels? She goes, what are we doing? Right? And when she said that, I thought, well, Carly, you would sleep with uh people you really didn't know that well, but she's changing, she's maturing, right? And so Jack says, for the record, had you asked me, she goes, look, and I don't even know if you would have said yes had I asked. He goes, for the record, if you'd asked, I'd have said yes because I like spending time with you. They still didn't, he goes, I didn't know we needed to give it a label, but I enjoy your company and I'd like to see where this goes. So Jack gets a call from Colette, and Colette says, Jocelyn Jackson's out here and she wants to see you. Are you still in a meeting? Because when Carly came, Jack shooed Colette out of there and she gave Carly the shrink eye as she's going by. And Carly's like, go get on out of here. So he hangs up the phone and Carly looks at him. He goes, I think you should know your friend Jason Morgan's been arrested for the murder of Cyrus Renault, and he's at the PCPD, or she's been arrested and he's at the PCPD. I think that's all he said. He knew that would get Carly out of there lickety split, right? Which it did. So Jocelyn comes in and she says, Jason is being framed for murder. This isn't part of it. This was never supposed to be part of it. He goes, you wanted us to cover everything up, didn't you? And he goes, that was the way to cover it up. Because a person with Jason's skill set would know how to clean that place like we clean that place, right? And we just left two strands of hair. I mean, just enough to point them in Jason's direction. She said, that's not right, though. I would never let Jason go to prison for something I did. Never. And he goes, it won't get that far. And she looked at him. She said, what? He says, there is no body. Without a body, and a weapon. They have nothing. It's definitely not, it's not convicting enough to convict. And so she goes, she's looking at him. So you promise me Jason won't go to prison for this? And he looks at her, up at her, and goes, now he didn't open his mouth. He didn't say, I assure you, with Jason's attorney, he'll get off. He just went, he said, because look, here's the alternative. We can make Cyrus's body reappear. And then the police will open a whole investigation that would cost the taxpayers money, and it could have them looking in other places that don't need to be looked in. So she goes, okay, just so long as Jason doesn't have to go to jail. And so he says, look, she goes, it's Cyrus stay. No, she goes, no, Cyrus needs to stay dead, period. It's for the greater good. That's what Jocelyn said. And he says, oh, I'm happy you said that. And she said, what? That is for the greater good. He said, because I have an assignment for you. It's one that has to be handled outside the normal legal channels, and it's perfect for you. And she said, I am not a spy. And he looked at her, he goes, you can handle this. So watch, Jocelyn's going to do it. Of course she's going to do it, right? Because in my mind, okay, Cyrus's body reappears and Jason's hair they'll plant on Cyrus's body. What? You can't trust the WSB. Now, I have a question for you all in comment corner land. The only evidence, did they ever say they found Cyrus's DNA on the place? I, I heard it was scrubbed completely clean. Did they find a drop of Cyrus's blood? See, there was no evidence Cyrus Renault was ever in that cabin. Unless now they're going to write it in a few episodes down the road. But as of now, no. There was no evidence Cyrus was there. Cyrus could still be on the run. Just because Jason's hair is there, it doesn't mean he was there when Cyrus was there. He could have been checking out the location for Airbnb rental. I mean, come on now. You know, period. So completely, they have nothing. They pretty much have more on the murder of John Cates that the FBI couldn't solve than they have with Cyrus Renault's disappearance. So, you know what? The DA, that's the ADA that lost her case to, I forget what trial it was, and she lost it, right? Now, this is her opportunity to make a name for herself. Yeah, okay. I'm just happy they didn't have Molly get the short straw and have to do it. I'm really happy that didn't happen, right? So anyway, Jocelyn, she's gonna be Miss WSB agent, and it could be interesting. They could put her in some really interesting situations. We shall see. I don't know. Now, Maxie, believe it or not, remember she hired the decorator, but Maxie's doing all the decorating. I mean, what did the professional do? Maxie's the one with color swashes, samples, and this, and doing this room and fixing up that room. So there's a knock on the door, and it's Willow, and then Nina steps behind Willow. And Drew just looks at Nina because he's, oh, Willow. And then he says, Nina. So they come in because he had just been talking to Maxie. Maxie says, I'm almost done, X, Y, and Z. He goes, well, look, don't choose whatever it was right now. I want Willow to have an input. I want Willow to have a say in this room, that room. So she goes, oh, so Willow is moving in. And then that's when the knock on the door, and it was Willow and Nina. So Maxie, Drew invites them in, and Maxie's saying, oh, good, Willow, you're here. I could use your advice on the morning room, which I don't know what the morning room is. It a room that faces the morning sun, I guess, right? And so Willow's like, well, okay. I mean, I don't know how much help I could be. And Maxie says, I could use another pair of eyes because I know Drew's eyes are tired, of looking for me. And I'm like, well, you know what? Isn't that what an actual interior decorator would do? I mean, actually, they would already have your vision and just get it done. So Maxie takes Willow to the rooms, and Nina and Drew are talking. And Nina says, quite the place you have here. He goes, yep, I'm happy with it. And she goes, okay, I see your plan. What? Your plan is to convince Willow to move in here. Oh, she already turned you down, didn't she? But I see you're going to still work on her. So you could what? He goes, well, Willow will marry me, and we will raise our kids together as a family. And Nina says, oh, is that so? Willow isn't even divorced, but she's going to just up and marry you. Drew says, yeah. He goes, well, you're probably going to convince her. He goes, Willow doesn't need convincing. She's a grown woman and she can make up her own mind. And I thought, really, Drew, with all that in her head you do, all that mental manipulation. Oh, but she's a grown woman that can make up her own mind. She goes, Willow is vulnerable right now and easily manipulated. And that's what you're doing. And he looked at her, and I'm thinking, Nina, that's what you do too. That's the pot calling the kettle as black as they are, right? So Drew says, ooh, I see Nina. I see what's going on. You're jealous. You are jealous of your daughter. Pompous, smug, Drew just telling her, he goes, now, if you, he goes, you better accept the idea of Willow marrying me. Because if you don't, you're going to lose her all over again. So what is it going to be, Nina? And Nina just looks at him. Oh, she's like biting the inside of her lip, looking at him. And Maxie comes out with Willow, and Willow's like, boy, this is shaping up really nice, blah, blah, blah. And so Maxie says, oh, by the way, Drew, Scout's trundle bed can't be delivered till next week. And he says, okay, well, wait a minute. Can I go pick it up in my truck? Because I want it to already be here and assembled when I bring Scout here. And so she goes, well, yeah, your truck is definitely big enough to haul a lot of stuff, right? So he asked Willow, would you like to come for a ride with me? And she's like, yeah. Now, before um, Willow and Nina came, Alexis had been over because Maxie called Alexis over. And Alexis was, Maxie was saying that, she wanted some input on Scout's room and blah, blah, blah. And Alexis says, you know what? You all have this covered. I really can't stay. Um, but thanks for the invite, right? And Maxie goes on about her way back in the room. And Alexis says, a reason why I really came, I needed to give you an update. So she tells Drew about Cyrus being killing Sam, right? And Drew was like, oh, oh, acting so, right? And he, of course, thanks Alexis for telling him, and Alexis leaves. Okay. Um, so now we're dealing with Willow and Drew are gone. He gets a call when they're outside the house. It's the PCPD, it's the ADA. Or the PCPD call said they need to speak to him. So he's like, well, okay. So he goes, Willow, you don't have to come for this. She goes, no, of course I'm coming. And she puts her arm through his arm. I'm like, oh, ugh. Right? So what happens is well, let me get with Nina and Maxie. She goes, Drew can't move Willow in here, Maxie. It's happening too fast. And Maxie says, and hello, neutral. I'm neutral. I have nothing to do with this. You gotta stall him. She goes, nope, that's not my place. Maxie's like, you ain't putting me in this. And she goes, Drew has to have something he's hiding. Because a scumbag like him, he's got skeletons in his closet. And Maxie says, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We all have skeletons in our closet, right? And so she goes, Nina, she goes, and he is going. And when things come out, it's gonna, Willow's gonna be affected. It could hurt Willow. He is just taking her, he's destroying everything in her life, right? So Maxie says, you want to know what could end all of this, Nina? And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it to you again. It's not the lies the Drew's going to tell Willow that's going to ruin her, her life. She said, Nina, you could stop the whole thing by simply telling Willow the truth that you and Drew were in a relationship. You were sleeping together when he went after her. Maxie, I did. She goes, but see, you don't want to do that, Nina. Now she needs me. She goes, she needs the truth. She goes, but you're not going to do it. And so she goes, Maxie, I just need information. I need access. And so she goes, look, maybe Nina saw the safe because Maxie was saying she needed to get a picture but no, Nina didn't go looking through the house. Somehow, I guess Maxie may have mentioned there's a safe. She goes, does he have a safe? Or maybe Nina said that. I was half listening to it. And Maxie says, I'm not going to tell you the combination of Drew safe. No, that invades his privacy, and I'm not going to do it. And I'm also not going to tell you that the combination to the safe is in that brown folder right there on the table. And Nina looks at it and she reaches for it. And Max is like, wait a minute. Let me get out of here. I want plausible deniability, right? And Nina's like, thank you, man. She goes, and don't thank me. I'm not in this. So Maxie leaves, and Nina now has the combination of Drew's safe. So I guess she's gonna go looking through the safe to see what he has in that safe. Who knows what it is? Yeah, who knows? So anyway, now Drew gets to the PCPD, and check out this, everybody. Is this the way any formal investigation goes? You have somebody that's a possible witness or alibi for somebody else. Do you say, listen, there was a woman murdered on 12th Street, okay? And there's DNA from this man right there. Matches found by the woman right under her. Now, this man says that he was with you between the hours of 10:04 and 10:57. Is that true? They never spell out. She's talking about Cyrus Renault is missing. We've possibly murdered. Jason Morgan's DNA, two hair strands, was found at the scene. They don't know it was the scene. There was no blood. It was scrubbed clean, which is interesting to me. But he says he was with you last night, Congressman, from 10 to 11. Is that true? What do you all think Drew's going to say? Instead of saying, leaving everything else out, instead of simply saying, was Jason Morgan in your house with you last night from 10 to 11? Drew would say yes. But now that he knows, ooh, they got DNA evidence on Jason and I want him in jail, what do you think Drew's going to say? Drew's going to look her straight in the eye and say, I have not seen my brother and it definitely would never be in my house. And then he'll look at Jason like, how you like me now? How you like me now, twin brother? And Jason is going to just stare at him with that stare. When I get off, I'm going to kick your from Pier 55 to your house, brother. Right? How many of you in Comic Corner Land feel Drew's gonna say no, Jason wasn't with him? I feel he's gonna lie and be so smug looking at Jason, like I got you. Mm. Now, later, somewhere along the line, Willow may find out that Drew lied intentionally. And let's see how she feels about that. Let's see how she feels about that. Because Drew would never lie to her. So we shall see. We have Kai buys tickets. There's this big museum. And they were having an event to where the ticket holders were painting their own canvases. And he and Trina painted, their own canvases and they had conversations. And he's saying he doesn't know where he's going with his life or what he's gonna do, but because of her, he feels he does have options. He said, because without you, Trina, football was everything. My everything. There is no life without football. He says, I would have been just devastated. I don't know what I would have done. He goes, I'm still uncertain about my life, but I know there is more to me than just football, and that's because of you. So that was kind of nice. That was nice, right? Um, Brad, Selena turns up. Wait, Curtis tells. Oh yeah, yeah. Selena shows up at GH and says, "Here." And Brad was talking to Lucas. And she goes, "Can I have a word with you, nephew?" And he's like, "I'm working." She goes, "A word, Brad." So and Lucas was like, "Oh, I got patients to see." So he gets up and he leaves, right? And she goes, hands him an envelope. He goes, "What's this?" She goes, "Your resignation, effective immediately. Tonight, you start working for me." And he goes, "Aunt Selena, I just got back at the hospital. I have a really good shot at getting back together with Lucas." And she goes, "You don't need to work at the hospital to get back together with Dr. Jones." So he goes, "We're going away, going to Miami. And I can't." And she says, "You know that debt, Cody Bell, that $5,000 that's growing? He's reneged. Now that debt, nephew, falls on you because you brought him to me. Pay up." "I don't have that kind of money." She goes, "Exactly." So one of the nurses called Portia and said, or somebody called, I don't know who called, that Felicia, that Selena Wu was there in the hospital talking to Brad. Portia was in the office talking to Jordan. Well, Portia jumps up, "Miss Wu," oh, she's talking bad to Selena. Um, "What business do you have? And are you ill? Are you here seeking medical attention?" She goes, "No, I'm here speaking to my nephew." And she says, "Well, Brad is working and I need you to allow him to get back to his work." And Selena looked at Portia like, "No." She goes, "Yes, Brad is an employee here and my employee needs to work. So you need to speak to him another time." Selena looks at her and she leaves. And Brad is like, "Well, thank you so much, Dr. Robinson. But my aunt Selena is not one to cross. She has a long memory." And Portia says, "I'm not worried about her. You get back to work." So Brad walks away and he gets a text from Selena. Meet him at the surf, whatever, that little hipster college place, the new little hangout. He meets her there. She's telling him, oh, he is going to start working for her again because there's a debt and it's going to be paid. And she has a way to get her money back out of him. So he goes, "What if I can offer you something better?" And she's like, "What is it?" Brad gives Selena the papers, the results where Portia changed Heather Weber's lab work. Because she goes, "What would I need a woman's lab works for?" And he goes, "Well, if these lab works are showing that Dr. Portia Robinson falsified, changed her results, that's useful. Could you imagine what would happen if you had leverage over co-chief of staff at General Hospital?" And Selena says, because she's thinking, I don't like her anyway. And this could be my end to forcing Curtis to sell me the Savoy so she could have her illegal poker games, right? Or force Curtis to let her use the club for free, right? So she goes, reaches for it. Brad says, "No, mm-mm." Now, this means, and she goes, "Your debt is clear with me." And she takes the paper, and Brad gets up like, phew. And I'm like, hmm. So the first time Selena tries to have leverage over Portia, Portia's gonna know Brad reneged on the deal and she could fire Brad. Even though Brad will say, if you fire me, I'm gonna tell, she's gonna say, well, your aunt's gonna try to make it public anyway. Kick rocks, right? Kick some rocks. Okay. So that's it, everybody. That's it for today's episode of General Hospital. I'm gonna do 6 minutes of comment corner. Let me see. Here's some comment corner. Why did I grab the wrong piece? Okay, here's comment corner. And today I'm going to go from the top down, from the top down. That's what my paper says. Let me turn on my trusty, dusty stopwatch. Okay, here we go. Dana says, I wonder if Sasha will give Jason an alibi. And then Sylvina says, I believe Brennan set up Jason. One to shield Joss. Wait. One to shield Joss. Two to try to get Jason to come work for him or the WSB in general. Yep, because he's always wanted Jason to be an agent. That would be interesting if Sasha gives him an alibi. Because he could say, look, I didn't want to cause any scandal. We were in her room at the house and they don't want us uh, doing anything. Whatever, right? Lisa says Jocelyn hasn't done the right thing since she sought Cyrus. First off, she should have called Jason from the start and not involved Brennan just because he gave her a clue. He is going to blackmail her into working for the WSB. Brennan is going to offer to get Jason out of being blamed if he works for him. Brennan is going to get two things he wants out of Cyrus's death. Gonna be interesting. Lisa says, oh, but the force of Carly, once she finds out, man. Lisa says, this friend of Kai's is not a friend at all. He doesn't care about his happiness at all. He's being a jerk. You know what? I don't know if Kai has fully told the true extent of his injuries. I don't know if he has. Lisa says Josh should be flipping out with the loss, with losing all her pictures of Dex. Oh, on that phone, I know. Sewing Room says, right, daily recap lady, because Drew thought he was only gonna get 6 months probation, not 2 years. That's why he took the fall. Daily recap lady, that Drew's voice is hilarious and creepy at the same time. I know. So everyone says, ha ha ha, daily recap lady, hair strands taped to the door, ha ha ha, with a note saying Jason Morgan. Does anyone think Jocelyn will be able to keep quiet? I know, I don't know. Sewing Room says, I've been where Alexis is, but not by murder, but still, yeah. I mean, good. That uh Nancy, I think Grace, whatever, I think that's her name. She needs to win a daytime Emmy for her work over this whole story. She really does. Charlotta says Drew is going to lie on Jason. Um, I said that Jason was not with him. Yeah, he's going to say that Jason was not with him. Chrissy Hayter says Anna is not Jason's friend. She always accuses him of a crime without any evidence. Friends do not do that. Then she uses her tears to guilt him to get her way. She's constantly manipulating him. Magdalena says today's episode was okay, but Alexis really showed pain today. I really felt for her losing a child. That's really painful. And in reference to Jason, he should not have gone to the precinct without Diane. Well, you know, him and Anna got this buddy thing. He chit chats with her. He didn't know. He didn't know about Cyrus because he didn't kill Cyrus. He's thinking it's the same, right? Where is Diane? I know. I haven't seen her, but I did see her in scenes. So I think she comes up tomorrow. I like the way Kai stood up to his friend in reference to Trina, That was amazing. I love the friendship that Trina and Ava have. I like that too. She kind of took Trina under her wing, kind of because of Kiki. Um, and reference to Jocelyn, sooner or later it's gonna come out, and Jason is not going to jail. Keep tuning in. Stay blessed, Maggie. Oh yeah, Jason ain't going to jail. For one, there is no body, no body, no murder weapon, no murder. I don't care that I said in public, I will end you and they'll never find the body. That don't mean I have the ability to do it and prove it. Prove it, right? Lashanta says Jason's word is bond. Laura and Martin look like the fools they are. I hope Chase doesn't uh von confide in Dante and he puts it together. Anna is so dumb. She uh in she's incompetent. Felicia's chief is running her mouth. How Felicia know this already? I know, I didn't get it either. LaShunta says, watch Drew won't back Jason up. No, he's not. Brennan is a whoop, whoop, can't say that B word. He set Jason up. He's forcing Joss's hand. He planted those hairs because he would not work for him. And then Jacarly says, Jason better not take the fall for Joss. He can't be there for Danny if he is in jail. No, he cannot. Right? No, he cannot. And then Jacarly says, and this is the last comment, how do they even know Cyrus is missing? That's what I'm saying. There is no body, there is no blood. How do they know that Cyrus is even at that cabin if there are no fingerprints and no DNA? Exactly. Horrible, bad writing. Horrible. Except for the two hairs that belong to Jason. That doesn't make any sense. Jason would never be that sloppy, leaving nothing but two strands of hair. Exactly. It's a farce. It is a complete farce of writing like that. I cannot believe that, everybody. All right, that's it. That's it for Comment Corner. Thanks for the comment, everybody. Read everybody else's comment. Chime in. I love what we have going in Comment Corner. I will be back tomorrow with another daily recap of General Hospital.